The state is quick to take kids from their parents and put them in foster care, especially poor parents, and it is very hard to get your children back. Tonight, we expose the state's financial incentive to keep kids away from their families. Elena Andron dedicated her life to caring for her son, Johnny.
He was a big part of my life. He was my life.
But it wasn't easy. Johnny, who was 9 at the time, could not walk, talk, or feed himself. He had cerebral palsy and epilepsy.
It was a lot of work, like any single parent. It's kind of hard.
Things got even tougher when Elena lost her factory job.
It came a time to where I just needed some help.
So she turned to the Michigan Department of Human Services, a decision she will regret for the rest of her life.
And it still eats me up every day. It's been 3 years, and it still feels like yesterday.
That's because the foster care facility where the state sent Johnny failed to feed him enough food. Elena says she watched her son waste away as she begged for help.
I wanted to just carry him out of there. Just pick him up, take him, and just take him home.
If only it was that simple. Bill Mitchell knows how difficult it can be to get your kids out of the state's hands. He had to fight all the way to the state Supreme Court to get his 3 boys back.
They're my kids. I'm not going to give up on my kids.
So why did Bill and Elena have to fight so hard to get their children back? Some say it's because the state gets a lot of cash for foster kids.
Laws that were passed by the federal government and encouraged states to terminate parental rights more often than they used to, and promised to send them money if they would terminate rights and have the children adopted.
According to the state's own figures, the feds gave Michigan about $110 million last year for foster care. That's compared to the $26 million in programs that help parents keep their kids. Foster facilities also have an incentive to keep kids away from their parents. In Elena's case, the foster home got about $12,000 a month from the state for Johnny.
You're getting paid. You're getting a lot of money.
Arnold Reed is Elena's lawyer and says the foster facility profited big time off of Johnny.
There's no shortage of money. Plus, you're getting a stipend. You're getting a clothes stipend, and you're getting a stipend for food.
But not enough of that food made it to Johnny.
He started deteriorating so quick. I could not believe my eyes when I would see him.
Elena agreed to make Johnny a temporary ward of the state. She was supposed to bring him home after a year once she got back on track financially. But she says the state did not tell her that she would be put on a central registry for parents who abuse and neglect their kids. To get Johnny back, she would have to fight to get off that registry by attending parenting classes and meeting other requirements, something she says was nearly impossible to do with a new job.
They wanted me to go through some evaluations and stuff, which I did.
When she complained about Johnny losing weight, she says the state turned on her.
They didn't care. It's like none of my complaints mattered.
The Department of Human Services did not like Elena complaining or that she started trying to get her son back, so they took her to court and asked that she not be allowed to see Johnny. The judge sided with the state, and the next time Elena heard about Johnny, he was dead.
I entrusted people with my son, and I thought they were good people and they were licensed.
Elena says Johnny weighed 120 pounds when he went into foster care. The autopsy report shows he was only 48 pounds when he died of malnutrition.
I just cannot believe that somebody can have that kind of a heart to starve a child like that.
Bill's boys were living with their mom when the state took them. Bill tried to get the boys, but the state asked the court to terminate his parental rights too, mostly because of his finances.
And I have the right to choose wherever I want to work.
Bill is an engineer who works at Walmart. The state held it against him. DHS also did not like that he could not keep up the mortgage on the family home after the boy's mom walked out.
She was responsible for like $300 of the thing, and it was too much for me to maintain, all by myself.
The lower court sided with the state and terminated Bill's rights. But he appealed, and 3 long years later, the state Supreme Court sided with him. The ruling says Bill's finances should never have been held against him.
Birthdays, first time that they discover something, first time they make a new friend, things that'll never be returned to me.
He's one of the most outstanding parents ever to have been run through a termination proceeding, and if it can happen to him, it can happen to anybody.
We're spending a ton of money for putting these kids in foster care, but for these children, we're irreparably scarring them by damaging the bonds that they form with their families.
Vivek Sankran is an assistant professor at the Child Advocacy Law Clinic at U of M. He says only about 9% of the 16,000 kids in foster care were sexually or physically abused. The majority were taken from their parents because of poverty-related neglect.
Removal is too often thought of as the first option for protecting children and child welfare, rather than working with families, engaging with them, providing them with services in the home.
Sankran's organization, the Detroit Center for Family Advocacy, helps parents on the front end, getting them the services they need so their kids are not taken. He says so far they have had 100% success.
We need to create a culture where parents are willing to say, I need help. Help me, I need to become a better parent. Here's what I need.
Considering what happened to Elena and little Johnny, the state has a long way to go.
I gave them a healthy child and to get him back in a casket. I feel like he'd still be alive today if he was home with me.
State officials would not speak to us on camera, but they did tell us it is a priority to return children to their birth parents. They also say that the number of kids in foster care is down by about 3,000, and fewer parents had their rights terminated last year. As for the foster care home that housed Johnny, the state has shut it down. I'm Heather Catallo, Channel 7 Action News.